Gardeners are at a higher risk of getting Lyme disease now than ever before, and the cause is the ticks in the garden. They're no longer just found in the woods, they're in your backyard. There's a lot of misinformation out there about ticks, and in this program, I'm going to debunk a number of important myths. Let's start with some tick biology. If you don't understand the insect that you're concerned about, you'll never take care of the problem. Ticks are not insects. They're actually arachnids, similar to spiders, scorpions, and they're even related to the mites. There are 90 species in North America and some 900 species worldwide. It's not just one arachnid we're worried about. And the species is important, as you'll see in a few minutes. They can be classified into two groups, hard-bodied and soft-bodied. Hard-bodied ticks like to live in weedy areas, and those are the ones that we're really concerned about. And the reason is that their hosts are mammals, lizards, ground-dwelling birds, and you. These are the guys we need to worry about. Ticks start life as an egg, which hatches into a baby six-legged tick called a larva. The life cycle of the deer tick is common for ticks found in North America, and they go through a three-host cycle. The larva finds a suitable host in year 1. In fall, it leaves the host, molts into an 8-legged nymph, and overwinters on its own. In spring, it finds another host and feeds on it for a few weeks, leaves the host, and then turns into an adult. The adult then moves on to a third host in fall. Its second winter is spent alone, only to lay eggs in spring. Ticks don't jump or fly. Many will sit on the tips of vegetation and wait for the host to come by, a behavior known as questing. When a host gets close enough, they grab hold for a ride. Some ticks, like the lone star tick, are more aggressive and will travel several feet to find a host. Carbon dioxide, body heat, and vibrations signal the presence of a host. Once on a host, they can feed for 3 to 10 days before dropping off. Now let's look at some tick myths. Myth number 1, ticks are found mostly in forests. Ticks are commonly found in forests, but their numbers are growing in urban areas and are now quite common in backyard gardens. The warmth from cities is also extending their active season. Myth number 2, use soap, Vaseline, or burning to remove a tick. Don't cover the tick with things like soap or Vaseline. With these home remedies, the tick stays attached longer and can inject more infected saliva while you wait for it to die. Some people suggest burning it off with a match, but that is also a bad idea. You are more likely to harm yourself or your pet. The best way to remove a tick is with tweezers, grasping the tick as close to the skin as possible and gently pulling it off. Put the tick in a sealable plastic bag or container, such as a pill bottle. Record the date and location you visited, as well as the part of your body where you found it. If you develop symptoms, take the tick along with you to your doctor. Myth number 3, a partial tickectomy can still cause disease. Removing the body of a tick may leave the head or mouth parts attached to the skin. These will no longer transmit disease, and your body will slowly expel them as new skin develops. Myth number 4, only female ticks feed on blood. This is not true. A tick needs a blood feast between each stage of its life. Male and female larvae need a feed to become nymphs, and both sexes need another feed to become adults. Male adults may not feed again, but sometimes they do to get some extra energy. Myth number 5, all ticks spread Lyme disease. First of all, only some ticks are infected with a disease of any type, but more importantly, not all tick species can transmit Lyme disease. In North America, Lyme disease is transmitted mainly by the black-legged tick and the western black-legged tick. The former is also called the deer tick. Other species can transmit other diseases, such as Rocky Mountain spotted fever and ehrlichiosis. What percent of ticks carry Lyme disease? That depends on where you live. Do the ticks in your area carry Lyme disease? A recent study found that in the Northeast and upper Midwest, up to 50% of blackleg ticks are infected. But in the South and West, infection rates are usually less than 10%. Myth number 6, infection from ticks happens quickly. Infection is actually quite slow. In the case of Lyme disease, the infected tick needs to attach itself and feed for more than 24 hours before the bacteria are transmitted. Removal of ticks soon after each trip outside should prevent you from getting the disease. A review of the current literature for Lyme disease found that there is no evidence of transmission by a single infected nymph within the first 24 hours of attachment. That increases to 10% after 48 hours and reaches 50% after 65 hours. It is more than 90% after a complete feed, which can take 3 to 10 days. Other bacterial infections also seem to be transmitted slowly, but viral infections can happen quickly. Myth number 7, ticks fall from trees and land on you. Ticks don't jump, fly, or fall from trees. You have to come into close contact with the tick for it to find you. Myth number 8, ticks cannot survive winter. Ticks can overwinter in the leaf litter on the ground. They may even become active during a warm spell in winter when temperatures are above 4 degrees Celsius or 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Myth number 9, deer are the cause of Lyme disease. One of the ticks responsible for spreading Lyme disease is the deer tick, and deer are hosts for it. But deer are not hosts for Lyme disease. The bacteria that cause Lyme disease do not live inside deer or humans. The mouse is a host for Lyme disease bacteria. Myth number 10, you can feel a tick bite. You might feel the bite of a tick, or you might not. Their saliva contains several compounds that trick our bodies into blocking pain and itching, as well as stopping any defensive immune responses. Myth number 11, Lyme disease always comes with a bullseye rash. A Lyme disease infection can cause a round reddish mark called a bullseye rash, but it only appears in about 75% of cases. The best way to determine the disease is with a lab test, and even that produces a lot of false positives. According to the Centers for Disease Control, a bullseye rash is a sure sign of Lyme disease, and treatment should be started right away. A lab test is not needed. Myth number 12, possums eat tons of ticks. The names possum and opossum correctly refer to the Virginia opossum found in North America. Opossum is the preferred common scientific name. Many sources report that possums eat a lot of ticks. They are tick vacuums, with each one consuming thousands a week. A new study suggests it's all a myth. Earlier research showed that captive possums eat a lot of ticks, and these findings probably started this common myth about possum. Research that looked at the stomach content of wild possums found they ate almost no ticks. Ticks are not a preferred food item for wild Virginia opossum. Myth number 13, chickens and guinea fowl control ticks. The internet is full of anecdotal reports that chickens and guinea fowl rid areas of ticks, but there is very little scientific support for these claims. A study from 1991 looked at chickens eating ticks in a cattle yard in Africa and concluded that they do eat some ticks in this special situation. Other studies found that guinea fowl eat very few ticks. Chickens and guinea fowl do eat ticks, but that does not mean they are an effective way of controlling population. The University of Maine commented that guinea fowl and chickens are commonly promoted as tick controls, though research indicates that their tick consumption is minimal and is not effective in reducing local tick population. Ticks also attack chicks. Myth number 14, DEET does not repel ticks. According to the CDC, a repellent containing DEET picaridin, IR3535, oil of lemon eucalyptus, or paramethane diol, known as PMD, will repel ticks. That does not mean all of these are equally effective, but DEET does work well. Use products containing 0.5% permethrin to treat clothing and gear. Myth number 15, beautyberry bushes keep ticks out of gardens. Extracts of chemicals from the beautyberry bush show some repellency for ticks. Unfortunately, gardeners then extrapolate this fact and conclude that plants growing in the garden do the same thing. They don't. And homemade concoctions using beautyberry don't work either. Myth number 16. Ticks are repelled by fragrant plants like herbs. This is a common sentiment in discussion groups and uninformed websites. Growing fragrant plants such as mint, lavender, and peppermint is recommended for keeping ticks out of the garden. There are two key mistakes here. First of all, even if plants produce a compound that repels ticks, it is never produced in large enough amounts by living plants to make a difference. Plants growing in the garden don't work. The second problem is that just because a plant is fragrant to us, it does not mean it will repel ticks, or any other insect for that matter. That includes mosquitoes. Natural oil extracts from plants such as lavender, catnip, lemongrass, and citronella have been tested, and they either don't repel ticks or repel them for only a couple of minutes. Some plant oil extracts do show some repellency in lab tests, including cleome and rhododendron, but they are effective only against some tick species. Myth number 17. Natural repellents work as good or better than DEET. Lots of people want to go natural and believe that DEET is toxic. The facts are quite clear here. Firstly, natural products, even the commercial ones, don't work as well as DEET. And second, when used as directed, DEET is very safe. The risk of disease from ticks is real. The safety concern about DEET, IR3535, and picaridin is not. Myth number 18. Nematodes can control ticks. This one is only a partial myth. As with any control by nematodes, it is important to use the right species. In this case, it is important to use Steinernema carpocapsae, which is a generalist nematode that attacks over 200 different insects. But remember, ticks are not insects, they're arachnids. This nematode is an ambush forager that lives at ground level, stands on its tail in an upright position, and attaches itself to passing hosts. It can even jump onto prey, but it doesn't jump very far. Laboratory testing has shown that these nematodes are very effective against ticks, and field studies are now being done. It is too early to say that nematodes can control wild population, but there is some hope. Now you know more about ticks than you ever wanted to, but you're in a much better position to protect yourself from Lyme disease. Now, if you're interested to know how I handle pests and diseases in my garden, have a look at this video right here. Happy gardening.